and I mess it. And I don't care whether I mess it.
Well, isn't that the sign of a genius at art?
Or it could be, or an idiot, I don't know.
Or a messy artist?
I have read, are you an artist?
I do watercolors a little bit.
That's great, that's great. I've read all of Da Vinci's notebooks. Gates has, I believe it's number 5. They ought to run him out. And no man ought to own that. It ought to be in a museum. But he owns, I think it's number 5. These are those little books, and he had wrote everything in the world. And so I've studied all that. And some of these things that we even do, we don't know where it came from, but and probably Da Vinci didn't either on a lot of it. I think it's heavy. I have a bad back. Don't we all?
You live long enough, something will hurt.
Something's gonna get us in.
Okay, so what you gonna do here?
We're gonna do this Palaster. And we've got this all.
So what's a Palaster? Explain that. Not everybody knows what a Palaster
right
is.
there, that's running down
Correct.
there.
Uh-huh.
It's the, sometimes these were fluted, sometimes they were half round. In the federal period, there might be 2 of them half round, and then in the federal period, they might be fluted. So if this is a great revival, this is a typical great revival. It's perfect. It's perfect. And
I mean, I grew up calling them that, but not everybody did. So we always try and.
if we,
So what is your pigment down there? What's it made from?
this pigment
Just raw pigment?
is I'll get around here and you can see me more when I get around.
Well, we can see a little bit coming up.
This is linseed oil, mineral spirits, dryer, Japan dryer, and the pigment, which is black. It's a lamp black. This, you see this is extremely fluid, liquid as we say, just mopping it on.
Just a thin wash.
We had a good helper, and of course you were all dressed up and all, I'd have you to help me out. I wanted to do a little bit different on these, but I can't do it because it's cutting into it's in the finish, but I'm gonna do what I have to do.
Okay.
Well, then I just mop it on. Should have your apprentice should be here doing this thing. Mopping it on.
Well, I could be your apprentice. I love to paint.
That's right. And so that's that. And we are. Let me put a glove on. I'm always getting this stuff all over me. Look at that splatter. That doesn't matter, but
It'll clean up.
it'll clean up. But you have to be careful. I've done some mantles. There's a very beautiful mantle I did in a black, similar to this one. Set it up in John Neal's office in a 1832 bank building in Columbia, Tennessee. It is a knockout, and it's basically along this line, the mantle. This is although this is plain as it is, that's typical Great Revival. That's nothing wrong with that. That's nothing to be. You don't sneeze. Whoever built this knew from the plans and so on. The builders, this house, he was a builder. He wasn't an architect. He was a builder. The men were the ones who decided what was being done. The women stayed home and had babies.
They did a whole lot more than have babies.
That's right. maybe tend to the hogs, you know. Yeah.
You and I are gonna go rounds on this, Dr. Mack.
And so the men, they saw in the hotels and all, and
They traveled with work.
they traveled on the railroad, and the railroad by then, time this house, you could go anywhere on the railroad. And so,
Except Columbus. Columbus didn't have a railroad yet.
No.
It was close enough. It was out in Crawford and Artesia, but
yeah, railroad from Birmingham came through here in the 1880s, so you see, that's really when you think about a lot of these things taking place. There is this pattern right here is actually, they call it a serpentine pattern because you sort of see the scales of the snake. Snakes, you know, I don't say that to most homeowners because they might say, I said one time to Mrs. O'More, she was started O'More College, and she said, I don't like that. She was an artist. She was so, I don't like that. And I said, all right, okay, I'll take it out. You can do whatever, unlike Bob Ross, you can do whatever.
make some happy trees.
Well, if you want that happy tree, just have it. Have at it. But you want to bring in more light at times in places.
Well, do you have to worry about the inside too, where you already painted, or is that because the light, like on that inside part right in there, will you have to do the same type of work where you did your little serpentine? Will you do that on the inside, like here too, where
Yes,
you just?
yes.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna do this, which you can't see, but I'm gonna come in here like this.
You'd be
I'm gonna come
surprised.
in and meet this.
Look at that.
Watch this, like that. See that?
Yeah, I see that.
Isn't that cool?
Uh-huh.
I love that in marble, and then when I.
Because it looks like the seam.
Yes, when I finish these, I will finish these correctly. You gotta go this way. You can't just go that, it don't look right. So you got, and you don't leave it off. I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Today if I don't want to, but, then I'll just do a little here.
Uh-huh.
And I'm gonna come here. Now, in a blender, we'll call this the blender, this brush.
Okay.
We'll, like I said, you want to make sure that you come the same here. You know. And then I gotta always try to work it out. Now this is where the day.
Now, what do you call that shape of a brush? Is that a filbert?
I'm using it as a blender. See, I can blend like that when I get it, let it set up a little bit. See, I can do things like that. I just barely touch it, see.
Yeah.
And that's where you can get some, and I don't have to do it today, but I could leave it just like it is. And come back tomorrow with my next coat. But, you do little things, and the accidents, it's like in all painting, your accidents, you want it to happen, it just accidentally happens, and that's okay. All right, well, do y'all like that so far?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know how to tell people to do these things. Sometimes you can even think about the world, and you can do things and make it look like, you know, the world and things like that. But you don't in this particular pattern. This is not the one that you do that with. You mainly just take stuff off and put stuff in. I'm gonna add a little of this to this, and it's got a little color in it, but I don't care. Now, when we're setting up, and sometimes, and I may do this eventually too, I may have this a lot blacker, that a lot blacker, and that
So you'll build it up.
so it will give up.
So essentially you build it up.
Yeah, and it would look like this is a different piece of marble. This is a different piece of marble, see? This is a chunk, and that's a chunk, and that's a chunk, and this is a chunk, and that's a chunk.
That makes sense.
That makes sense, don't it? They didn't carve that whole thing out, you know, so that's sort of what we're gonna do. And then we're gonna do the same down here. I could do this in the gray, and I might do it in the gray before it's all, that's gonna be gray, and I may throw this, see, I may have this.
To make it blend in.
And I may do that, so I'm not even worried about that right now, see. May just wipe that off and this off and leave that to last, and if I don't like it gray, I'll come back to where it is. So anyway.
Oh, you're putting the veins in.
Right. And I'm getting, you see how this is drying in? It's because the ground coat's not right, but that's okay. Now in the veining, you can't see over here, but you've got to match it. Where'd that?
Oh, you're making your lines meet. I see.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And if I don't get
It's
it
like
today-
wrapping a canvas. If you have a wrapped canvas, you have to make it
and
work.
If I don't get it today, that's okay. Now I'm gonna do like here. I'm gonna do some things, and you want it. There's a church building out from Columbia, Tennessee, that the guy did the whole thing in veining. He put on the black, and he did veining, and over the period of years, 100, 150 years, 200 years, it's great. It's unbelievable.
Huh.
But it would have probably at the time been a little bit garish, a little bit rough, as we'd say. But he made it work.
He had vision.
Now what I'm gonna do here, as you can see, I have these little, what they call these little pockets. These are little things that happen when the marble, the marble sometimes will sometimes when it sets, well, I mean when it'll sometimes set, it'll set and then it'll crack and then the earth will go gang and then it'll roll around and do different things. Sometimes these things are round and that's because of the way it's done. But sometimes then this is just simply things that got in there, at the accidentals, see, and that comes in there like that.
Oh, the Bob Ross of granite and marble.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now what I'm doing here, you see, and I don't even have to today. I just stay a little bit in these things, and then tomorrow I can really add and do this and that and the other. See, I've got this and a little add to it. I can do it today. I don't have to do it today. And I'm going to do right here. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to tie that with that and that, and we're going to do that one right there. And these little
Accents?
accidentals.
Oh, accidentals. Okay.
Yeah.
The Bob Ross moments.
Yeah, the accidentals, these are accidentals. Accidentals happening in the actual marble. Now in black and gold marble, now I like that, even that strong, because I can come back and do some other things with that. But let's just leave it like that. Now we got to decide, I can come ahead and put in something, just put in one right here, and we'll come back and do the edges, and you can work. This is the art end of it, and people like the furniture builders, Fife was such a, he would get the best marble, and he would get the best burl and all, you know, and he would go around and get it. See, well, some of the ugliest marble is English marble, and so you don't worry about these things being not even or anything like that. You want all that, you know. Again, that's the.
She's just working it in,
That's right,
the
that's
real
right.
imperfections that would make it
And,
look
and if
as,
you don't like it today, when I come back and do all this other, I can take it out, put it back in, and so on and so on. See, so that's what we're doing.